If a Dark Templar falls down in your base and no detector is around to hear it, does it make a sound?
I will bow to your experience as the fool.
The Dark Templar is the Protoss stealth assassin. They can be warped in from the gateway/warp gate so long as a dark shrine is present on the map. Production cost of 125 to supply, 80 shields, 40 life, 1 base armor, and their tags: biological, light, and psionic. Their attack comes in the form of their Warp Blade, dealing 45 damage to ground targets in melee range. Very strong. The claim to fame with these guys is their passive, a permanent cloak, rendering them invisible to enemies that lack a nearby detector. An opponent caught unaware could be devastated in a matter of seconds. I suppose I should clarify. Invisible meaning that they cannot be attacked. Technically, an opponent can see where the Dark Templar are via the shimmer graphic that gives away a cloaked unit's position.
Fear is an illusion. Clever.
There is an upgrade available at the Dark Shrine for your DTs, Shadow Stride. Costing 100, this will give your Dark Templar a blink ability. With a range of 8 and a cooldown of only 14 seconds, this can be an incredible boon to both the mobility and the survivability of your DT army. Note that there is a 0.71 second attack delay after blinking, to better give the illusion that your opponent is actually going to stop you from decimating their forces. The usage of Dark Templar, very simply speaking, is what I like to call a gotcha mechanic. Not that great in direct combat, DTs can do the most damage when the opponent does not know that they're coming. The usual target that you want to go for is the workers. Factoring in how much damage the DT does, 1 or 2 in a worker line undetected can net you an economic advantage very quickly. Worker harass is not the only use for the DTs, though. They lend themselves to hit-and-run style attacks or sneak attack ambushes. Great for picking off low numbers of reinforcing units. You can upgrade them with Shadow Stride, aka DT Blink, and your opportunities will increase further. Now you can get the jump on an unsuspecting planetary fortress, or quickly escape from that pesky orbital commands scan area. Now you may have the thought, wow, going for Dark Templar seems to be a bit risky. They're not great in combat, and they're shut down with simple detectors. Why would I want them? Well, think about the prospect of forcing your opponent to get detection. Once it is known the DTs are on the board, the opponent has to play a bit more carefully. Detectors in every base, defensive forces left about to respond to any harassment. Sometimes the mental damage and the paranoia that is caused is well worth the investment. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen someone immediately make 10 or more missile turrets or spore crawlers just because they found Dark Templar. Very costly. As with their High Templar brethren, Dark Templar can take part in the merging of an Archon. This floating ball of anger and fury is so epic, so overwhelmingly powerful, that it got its own unit guide video. Lastly, a fun fact. There are two different appearances for Dark Templar, with the major difference being their weapons. One has a standard wrist-mounted psi blade, and the other utilizes a double-bladed scythe. There is no gameplay or stat difference, it's purely aesthetic. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite.
Fear is an illusion.
Ever since their advent, the Dark Templar has been the cause of many a frustrating loss. Their high damage and specific counter requirements can mean an instant defeat in some scenarios. The good news is that with a little bit of preparation and proper scouting, they are one of the more easily countered threats. If you're looking for a specific unit to go for countering, there really isn't one. Since DTs are not that great in direct combat, you really just need a healthy amount of combat units. The other major requirement is obviously detection. Each faction has their own tools that I will discuss. You could also go for specifically anti-light options, or any air-to-ground unit, but I don't really think that's necessary. Terrans. The orbital command is a godsend when facing Dark Templar. Having the ability to lay down an area of detection in any part of the map at any time is useful. The trade-off is that you're also sacrificing a mule. Plus, if the DT gets away, then yikes. If it's a low economy setting, or you just don't want to use the scans, then I recommend you build missile turrets in your base and ravens to go with your army. For actually fighting the DTs themselves, bioforces are absolutely fine, in decent numbers. These guys will eat 1 or 2 Marines for breakfast. As the game goes on, do not hesitate to bring out the ghosts. Their bonus versus light targets is great, and the ability to use an EMP round to reveal the cloaked Templar is exceptional.
Sure about that? Copy that.
Protoss. Dark Templar are a true staple in the blindfolded teleporting knife fight that is PvP. If you're a Toss that likes to play the matchup safely, you should already be used to opening up either Stargate or Robo. I prefer Stargate personally, as the Oracle allows for detection, scouting, and some light harassment. If you open up Robo, multiple observers are a must, since they move a fair bit slower. Most combat units are perfectly capable of fending off enemy Dark Templar. Stalkers tend to be a fine choice throughout the game, thanks to their mobility. Later on, you may want to consider adding in Archons and their bonus versus biological targets. Goodbye DTs and Zealots. Zerg players, base defense is no trouble. It's the detectors that tend to be forgotten. One spore crawler in each mineral line is already standard, and you should be done with, or at least closing in on lair tech by the time a 2-base DT attack would hit. As soon as lair is done, if DTs are suspected, morph an Overlord into an Overseer. One or two Overseers, plus your standard recommended 14 Queens should be more than sufficient. For dealing with the Dark Templar, do not get fancy. Lingbane is fine. Roaches are fine. Hydras, lurkers, all fine options. It's much more important to have enough units and a well-defended drone line. Not that I would recommend this last unit as a strong answer, I do still want to highlight it. The Infestor's Fungal Growth ability will reveal cloaked units that it hits, slow their movement speed, and deal 30 damage. Quite useful. Stealth Assassin, Scourge of the Mineral Line, or simply a knockoff ninja. You decide. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.
Allied forces in combat.
You see callous.